Don't change when circumstances do. Good morning, this is Kris Shoemaker, also known as Yehudah ben Shomeyr, and you're listening to Coffee with Kris, the time of the day where we share a cup of coffee and share a bit of the Word of God. Thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday morning for a hot cup of coffee and a hot cup of the Word of God. All right, we are in Vayeshev, the Torah portion, which means he lived. And our Sidra, our Aliyah, our text for today is the entire chapter of Genesis 39. But I just want to take a couple verses and elaborate on them. Verse 2 says, "But Adonai was with Joseph." Where was he with Joseph? He was with Joseph when he was sold into slavery, sold into the house of Potiphar, the Egyptian. It says, "But Adonai was with Joseph." So, because God was with Joseph, he became a successful man in the house of his master, the Egyptian. I tell you, slavery is a really bad place to find yourself. It stinks. It sucks. It's not a situation any of us would want to be in. And Joseph could have just been irritable, mad, saying, "God, this is unfair. You're God. You're in control. How could you let this happen to me?" And he could have just turned away from the Lord. But he said, "You know what? Just because my circumstances change doesn't mean I have to change. I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to stay faithful to God." And as a result, it says that he became faithful. Because he was faithful, he became successful in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Now, if it didn't go from bad to worse, it did. It went from bad to worse. So he was not only a slave, but he was falsely accused of rape, and was thrown in prison. So in verse 21, it says, But Adonai was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden." So he finds himself a slave. God shows him favor because he doesn't change even though his circumstances do. Things go from bad to worse, from the frying pan into the fryer. He goes into prison being falsely accused, and it says that God was with Joseph even then because he finds favor in the eyes of the prison warden and makes him successful even when he's in prison. So like Daniel, never compromise. Never compromise. Daniel spent 3 years in Babylonian University, and he still came out a believer in God. He still came out faithful to God's commandments and the scriptures of God. That's not what we see today. A lot of our young kids leave church, leave synagogue, go to 4 years of some kind of secular university, and come back liberals, come back woke, come back atheists. But why did Daniel not change? Because he had a firm, solid foundation of the Word of God since he took his first breath. So don't change even when your circumstance do. If you maintain your integrity and convictions, God will see you through no matter what the circumstance. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. Shalom and God bless.